male bright clubber of this evening. Please go absolutely wild for Skywalker.
How the fuck am I going to follow a dead mom joke? Jesus, well, I can tell you, my mum's dead too. And my mum was a lesbian, so there's two of them. That is the weirdest way I've ever started a gig. Oh, I'm already off track. Right, I'm really excited to be here, genuinely excited. So, I have a problem with the microphone. I'm going to get too excited and it's going to keep doing this. Right, and then I'm going to have to bring it back up and you can't hear me. So, I'm going to ask you, I need help. What I need you to do is if this starts to slip, can you just give me a quick, like, just... can we do it together, right? I'll let it slip, you just you ready, right? I'll let it slip and you show me to get it. I told you I could get this room to pump aircon. Thank you! Happy Skywalker? No, genuinely my proudest achievement. Don't play the fucking music. No, I will get started. I'm genuinely excited to be here. I am an academic, but I'm also a comedian on the Glasgow comedy scene, where I go by the stage name Buckaroo Bon-Si. Hat. If you don't get it, get a fucking PhD. Or Google. But no, seriously, every time I walk out, I'm Buckaroo Bon-Si, and there's a whole joke about it, but I have never ever walked out on stage and got to be Dr. Skywalker before, and that is super excited. I'm in conferences, but fuck that. When I realised that, I realised it was all about labels, right? Because yes, I'm a doctor, and if you, who's a doctor? Yeah, see, anyone can get one. Always the best laugh at an academic conference, no, and who's PhD? Who's doing a PhD? Right, okay. So you think about all these labels and stuff, and by the way, PhD, the shine never goes away. I love being a doctor, and all these labels, these different things. I'm actually a suicidologist. That isn't funny. That is the least unfunny fucking thing I'm going to say, you twisted bastard. Now, seriously, I'm not actually going to do jokes about suicide, so unclench your assholes, which is also a really weird chatterline I've noticed. I tried it on you earlier, that's what that was. I will start my set any minute. But seriously, like, I am a suicidologist. I'm also a historian, which is what I'm going to talk to you about tonight. I used to be a historian before I moved into occupational health. I'm a senior occupational health researcher at the University of Glasgow. I'm a father. I'm a pansexual space rogue. And as I recently found out, I am a daddy bear. If you don't know what a daddy bear is, that's never happened before, actually. I am tempted just to do that again for a round of applause. My self-confidence has just exploded. Like, lovely. No, daddy, like, it was a weird thing to be told at a conference. On occupational health. But I'm a daddy bear, right? And there are so many of these labels, they're incredible, because you're gonna go full academic on this. You've got to codify it. Like, you've got daddy bear, you've got sloppy bear, you've got polar bear, you've got Rupert the bear, you've got, like, give me some others.
Otter.
Otter, right?
Fox.
Fox. Is that one? Yeah? I have no fucking idea. Like, I started Googling, I got an erection. I just moved on. Incidentally, I asked a friend of mine who's a lesbian, and I said, do you have the same descriptions? And she said, yeah, we've got two. And what she said after that, I will not repeat. Because my career will be over. Are we filming this? I'm definitely not saying it. It was terrifying. Vaginas. Now. Interestingly, I am pansexual and I'm married to a woman. So when she sees that recording, I might be single. Hello. Right. Okay. So let's do some jokes because I've just been talking shite. History, right? So one of the best things is, is being a historian of sex. Is that you get to go to all kind of random conferences, and I've realised recently that there are different people at conferences. Who's been to a conference recently?
Woo!
Yeah, okay. They're slightly less excited than I expected there. You're like, yes, we have to go to conference. Ref is coming. Why won't you shut the fuck up? But conferences, I realised that you can separate people in conferences into 3 labels. Sorry, Goffman, Foucault, deal with it. 3 labels, right? The person who laughed at that? No. 3 labels. First label is the first year PhDs, right? You'll recognise them immediately. You'll see them running around at the conference. They've got no fucking idea how they got there. They're super excited. Anybody asks them a question, they're like, right? They are having the best fucking time, right? They're like a toddler on cocaine, right? Then you've got your second year PhDs. They are the masters of every subject, right? You ask them a question and they will tell you every book they have ever fucking read. Like, I said, where's the toilet? Right? And then you've got your third year. So the third year PhD, or above. Third year, right? Yeah. These are the ones you find at the back of the room, back to the wall, with a can of alcohol in their hand, no matter what fucking time it is. And you walk up and you go, hi, I'm Si, what do you study? And they go fuck yourself. And then what I realised is these labels that I've been applying for years in my head also have the same connotations as like the bear thing, because your first year's veg weeks. Right? Your second years, they are definitely queens. You just bask in their knowledge and you enjoy it. And your third years is me. So yeah. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the history of sex. So I don't get to do it very often. But the history of it. I'm supposed to do that. All I'm going to get these days. I'm 40, I have to hit it with nettles. Wasn't going to say that out loud. So yeah, one of my favourite stories to tell students is not that. One of my favourite stories to tell them about during the just after the Second World War, the Americans spent a shit ton of money trying to unveil a gay cabal in San Francisco. Has anyone ever heard about this?
Yeah.
That's because you've sat through my sat before. Everyone loves a small talk. And I really do love you. So yeah, no, back in the 1950s, the Americans spent something like $8 million hunting for the leader of a gay cabal in San Francisco. Now, I need you to suspend disbelief. I know that you cannot think of the American government spending money that they don't have on things that they shouldn't and interfering with people's way of life. Now, that doesn't happen. Just stick with me. And they did. So, essentially, an officer who was in the wrong place, apparently, at the wrong time, apparently, overheard someone say to someone else, "Are you a friend of Dorothy?" Right. Dorothy is now, and there are papers of it in America that says that Dorothy is the leader of a gay cabal who is attempting to bring down the US Navy one blowjob at a time. I mean, I'm up for it. And it's true, it's absolutely true. And I love these really stupid stories about history. Like, there's other stories, like, so I started my PhD and I started looking at military history. Now, military history, First World War history, you're not going to get a ton of laughs out of that, and if you do, you're a twisted fuck. Right, but I'm sitting in the Imperial War Museum. I am going through these beautiful letters, these diaries, these testimonies, these oral histories. I burst into tears several times. I felt like I was there, I felt like I knew them. My first book, I wrote, "Thank you for letting me stand on your shoulder on the parapet." It was beautiful. You expect the emotion. It's gone quiet there, right? You expect the horror. What you don't expect is the sexy, spicy shit. And I tell you what, the straight stuff, fuck that, that's boring as shit. The gay letters, like between two servicemen, honestly, you can hear the you know, the gay researchers in the Imperial War Museum when you get to a spicy letter, because it's usually a thunk. And if you don't understand what that means, I'm really sorry for you. But no, seriously, you get these letters and they're so full of innuendo. Innuendo. Thank you. Like, oh, no, half the shit that you've come out with tonight to make one bad pun. No, you get things like, dear mother, we're having a lovely war. There are a lot of shells, but luckily Colin and I were pounding it all night. So, dear Commander, it's absolutely wonderful to see you at the last ball. I'll be looking forward to coming around and inspecting your privates later. I mean, they're just beautiful, and they are real, and they're hidden histories, and we should all study them. Another part of hidden history is medical history. Does anybody know anything about medical history? Good, I can lie. Medical history is hilarious, right? One of the key rules of medical history is the fact that doctors, during the 19th century, they would learn about medicine primarily by doing it to themselves, right? You might have heard of James Simpson. Do you know anyone know who James Simpson is? Seriously, how many fucking degrees are in this room? Seriously, none of you?
No.
Right, St Andrews is going to give out refunds. What's a refund of a quid each? Going to get chased out of this town. No, seriously, like, James Simpson invented, not aesthetics, no, he wasn't that good looking. That's it, I'm dyslexic, thank you. Say that out loud for the rest of them.
Anesthetic.
That's the fella, you all heard that?
Yeah.
The thing that makes you go night-night. Like my voice. So yeah, he invented anesthetic, and the way that he did it is people would come round to his house, they'd have a couple of, they'd have dinner, they'd have a couple of drinks, and then he'd be like, no, seriously. And then they'd fucking pass out. You're not allowed to do that. These days, that's an orgy. So, like, this is true science. This is true history. John Hunter famously cut his own dick open. Oh yeah, now we're upset. I said suicide, not one fucking eye blanked, but the minute we're talking about a cock sliced in half, double standards, that's all I'm saying, right? No, he had horrific syphilis, and he realised that if you cut your penis in half and you rub it with a wire brush, it hurts. Who knew? And he poured mercury on the inside of his penis, sewed it back together, and went, look, I fixed it! It's a really interesting paper. Oh, and this is the last thing I'll tell you before I get off that. No. I'm really impressed. I think I'm the only one who made that joke. So no, the last thing I'll tell you is that, do we all know about the history of masturbation? Not the practical, the theory. A couple of nods and a couple of very awkward looking faces. You're either liars or wankers or both. The point is that in the 19th century, women began to be diagnosed with this thing called hysteria. Oh yeah, there you go. Get it out of your system. By masturbating. Because that's what was prescribed. Doctors were masturbating women to enable them to cure themselves of hysteria. Apparently it made them happier. Who knew? But the point here is that doctors began to develop repetitive strain injury. Because they are going to middle-class women's houses, rubbing them for any upwards of 15 to 20 minutes, depending on quality and paycheck, and curing them of hysteria. It's all true. And so the first vibrator was developed not for women's pleasure, but because doctors were getting RSI. It's the true right? I'm not making this shit up. You Google it, right? They would put the women on their dining room table because there's only one plug socket in the middle-class house. So you clean it. You cannot keep your plates up in the middle-class house in Edinburgh in 1870 because the vibrator man's coming. Right? And he's going. Plugged into the light socket, that's so much more demeaning, I don't know why. And I love this story. What I really love about it is that if we follow the tenets, the logic, the history of modern medicine, if we know that these medical pioneers, these theorists, these specialists, these incredible people who tested medicine on themselves, does that mean that the first ever vibrator was used to tickle their prostate? I like to think so.